Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rebook, the show where we talk about the men and the women we slap in the middle of square circle. Sorry, the talent process, brother. Of course, I'm GB. You got Matt. You also have Jake, and today we're gonna talk wrestling. Jake, what is it?
Well, for
what
those
now? What already?
I'm just saying, for those who've tuned in for the first time, we talk about wrestling in case you couldn't interpret
What I just
whatever
said?
the hell he just said. We talk about
I
wrestling.
mean, that's fine. That's a completely fair assessment. You know, we have to make our stuff evergreen for the audience at large. But in the end, it's about the
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's
Okay.
fan service.
And if you could discern, if you could translate what I just said, you are a part of the Rebooked cinematic
Then you
universe.
belong.
You belong. You're one of us. You're one of the sickos. All right. So, everyone, good to see you guys. It's been a little bit. We just actually all hung out just the other day because we were with Matt at TNA Rebellion. It was a great time, super fun show. And we had KBBQ again.
Yeah, we did.
For those who don't know, last time we met together, it was at Rebellion last year in Vegas. We had KBBQ. And Jake, what happened, if you don't mind recapping?
30-second recap.
Didn't happen.
What didn't happen to you that day?
I mean, this is not a medical podcast, so I feel like I don't need to go into great detail.
I agree.
But yeah, it was, it was rough.
It was one of those days where you wish you didn't have the meat and you maybe had a salad instead or something
You
like
had
that.
all the meats.
Yeah,
I
had all the meats.
had all the meat. Yeah. Let's just say, like, those bars they sometimes put on the wall next to toilets in like public bathrooms?
Yeah,
Should have been a couple of those in there.
should have been a couple of those in there. And of course,
Should have been
Needed
a
a
couple of those
brace.
in there.
we
Yeah.
always feel bad for our editor Scan, who's watching this and listening to this as he edits it and has to relive that experience.
I felt
so
bad
mostly for him.
because I thought he was gonna have to come take a shower before
he
he
left.
hopped on his plane, and I just remember sitting there
Would've
like thinking, do I leave him a note? Do I what do I do?
What do I
But
say?
but doing just fine this time around.
That's good. That's good. We really wanted KBBQ to get the redemption arc, so it did,
Yeah.
and it wins. So now we can maybe do it. Maybe we don't do it a third time when we get together.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do sushi.
Maybe we'll do some American barbecue.
Maybe we do some American barbecue. That
You
actually
know,
that
they
sounds
make
quite
sure
fine.
it's cooked before it gets to the table. And
Whoa.
know,
So
instead of this
I appreciate
like,
how American you are.
fondue.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like blown away by corn cheese for those of you guys who have gone to KBBQ restaurants.
I just didn't know. I needed to know if it was cheese made out of corn.
Yeah.
If it was just corn on, like it brought up a lot of questions.
There was too
That's
many
all I was
questions.
saying.
Too many
And
questions.
then we didn't even try it.
Yeah, it's true. We didn't even try it, but
We didn't even try it.
it's okay because
in the end.
the meats were good. We didn't get a chance to talk about AEW last week, and because it was a busy week, and WrestleMania, and just we all had things going on and a lot of traveling and stuff, so it was just busy. So now here we are yapping about some AEW because we got a big spring break show that's happening tonight. Jon Moxley is going to be facing Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But as always, though, we like to start things off with a simple little narrative notes, which I got to pull up here, and I was not ready for it, so I apologize profusely for my lateness, but here we go. So, yeah, like I said, lots of stuff happened all across AEW, and we'll talk about it now, but let's just focus in, at least for now, what happened in the previous Collision as well as Dynamite leading into tonight, because tonight's a big night. Kyle Fletcher will be facing Hangman to determine who faces Will Ospreay at Double or Nothing. And we now know our final for the women's side, Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Moné for the women's final, and the winner of that will take on, of course, Toni Storm. Really, I'm more curious for the women's side because we'll talk about the men's later. Jake, is this how you saw the bracket playing out, given the contestants and the people that were involved?
I mean, honestly, pretty much. I mean, it kind of seems like on the men's side, it definitely does. Like our final four make complete sense to me. I could have seen any combination of them fighting each other, but it makes the most sense to either be Kyle Fletcher, who Osprey has this, history with, as we've seen recently,
Yeah.
or Hangman, who has been seeing quite the development as a character, and has also made his intentions known. As for the women's side, yeah, I mean, once we saw how the bracket was set up, once we saw that Athena and Mercedes were on the same side, to me, it was pretty much a lock that it was going to be Mercedes on that side of the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamie Hayter, you know what? Good. I kind of thought that it might be Chris Statlander, but Hayter, she was gone a little while with an injury.
Yeah.
She's knocked off some of that ring rust, and now she's back at 100%. So, so I like this final setup. I just don't see Mercedes losing again. She's been so very protected.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel like it's going to end up being Mercedes. But
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to be pleasantly surprised by Hayter sneaking in there and coming out with a
Yeah.
dub. So
I kind of feel the opposite, Matt, about it. Do you feel like
wow.
No,
Okay.
not like I like what you're saying because everything
You're wrong.
Jake, you're
You are
wrong
wrong.
about
Your
everything you
opinion is
just
wrong.
said. Everything you said was wrong. Thank you so much, Jake. We'll see you later. Goodbye. No, I do just want to clarify. Obviously, everything Jake said, yes, 100% agree with. When you looked at the bracket, I thought that there could have been some variance between Athena and Mercedes Moné, but this very clearly a story that they want to kind of save for down the line, given how that all played out. She snuck away the win over Athena rather than like a declarative victory. So I think that could be an interesting little place where they go in the future. But actually, I think that, like, for me, I saw Jamie Hayter and I was like, oh yeah, because I think like Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm would be like a really, really good all-in type of world championship matchup, because this tournament, Matt, has kind of felt, not in a bad way, I want to clarify, like a stopgap tournament, but it's been good, this. I don't see title changes happening here because I think we're building maybe for Tony Storm to do something else, but this is like a good middle ground for her as she like starts her reign. Is that the impression that you're getting? Like, do you think that?
What do you mean by stopgap?
Well, basically, like, Tony Storm doesn't have like a feud right now, right?
Right.
This is just,
Yeah.
this is a tournament to determine who fights her. And she's very much
Right.
just kind of been existing over the last like few weeks, which has been good because it's been funny and it's been good content like across the board, like the Turner Classic Movie Awards when she went there.
Yes.
And her match with Queen Aminata was another great matchup. Like,
she's been doing a lot of side quests.
Yeah, a ton of side. That's what I'm saying. This feels like a side arc. You know what I mean? Like that she's currently in.
Yeah.
But I actually think the interesting thing here is Jamie Hayter and Mercedes Moné, because I think if Jamie wins, then that puts Mercedes in her crosshair. And then
Who's crosshair?
In Jamie's crosshair. And I think I'm actually more interested in what happens with the TBS championship coming out of this tournament rather than, because I don't know. I don't think Mercedes is going to beat Tony. I don't think Mercedes is going to fight Tony at all. But am I crazy and thinking that the big money is having Mercedes and Tony fight right now?
The big money is having them fight.
Yeah.
The question, because I think that's probably the two women's stars that they've invested the most in, as far as cachet and time and stuff like that. Whether that's, to your point, right now, or as in right now,
like, would you do it right now? Would you do it at All In, or would you save
again,
it for down the line?
All In is still what, 2.5 months away?
True.
Yeah.
Like, it's not right now. I mean, it's going to be a huge show. It's going to be their, I think, biggest US show.
Yeah.
Presumably, or that's the goal, I imagine. So I mean, where else are you going to have two of your biggest stars?
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
That's true.
Then again, do we know? Remind me, they're not doing Wembley as well this summer, right? They forego that.
No, I think
they
they're
did
just
Texas instead.
Yeah, this is Texas. Yeah, Texas is the event. Yeah.
So I mean, it's like a Mania SummerSlam level event for AEW. So why wouldn't you put one of your biggest marquee matches
Yeah.
on? I mean, in that interim, in that 2.5 months, again, I thought that I really thought Athena and Mercedes would be our final. So when they were on the opposite sides of the brackets, it was, or excuse me, the same side. It was a little confusing, and I'm still a little let down by the fact they had a very good match.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the fact that it was just kind of, I know it was roll up, grabbed the tights like barely. It wasn't even they didn't even play it off as like an ultra controversial win.
Yeah.
It to me, it was a little bit of a wasted moment that I wish we would have gotten in the final. But to that point, in between now and All In, if Mercedes does squeak her way through to the win, perhaps in a heelish way, perhaps she still has to deal with Athena in the in between. And
Yeah.
maybe she crashes out on her way to All In and, loses her TBS title to someone like an Athena. But then maybe they decide to pull the trigger on Mercedes
Yeah.
at All In. You know what I mean? And we have a new
I don't mind
AEW
a
Women's Champion.
I don't mind a belt collector arc for her, Jake. Right? Like it wouldn't. This would
She's already been
legitimize
on it, and I'm
this
sick
would.
of it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go for it.
Yeah.
I think if she wins the finals in the Owen Hart, I think she's going to drop the TBS title between now and All In.
Yeah.
And I think that it's going to largely be because of interference from Tony Storm. I think she's going to just come out and distract her or something.
At
Yeah.
Double or
And
Nothing?
maybe. And
Interesting.
I'm saying if she loses the TBS title, I think it'll be because of
Yeah.
Tony Storm
So
distracting
she
her.
wins.
Something
So she
like
wins the
that.
Oh,
final.
gotcha. Yeah, okay.
She's the
She
number one
wins the
contender,
final,
and
I can see it.
and then between now and then, she's going to have a TBS championship match between maybe even an Athena again.
Yeah.
And Tony Storm's going to come out and not do anything, not get in the ring, just going to come out. It distracts Mercedes. And then Athena gets one over on her and she wins the title. And now we have set up a declining Mercedes Moné, a someone who's losing all her
yeah.
title, and then I think that makes it a little more 50-50 leading into All In, where you're like, well, gosh, now I don't really know who wins now, because I just don't think she's walking in there with every belt
No, I don't think so either.
that the industry can provide her. I just don't.
Yeah.
That's not an interesting story, because it's not an interesting story now.
Yeah.
So
yeah. There is some, and there's also like Harley Cameron's in this, and then you still have like Billy Starks kind of circling around, and then Athena circling around. So I'm really compelled by what's going on with the TBS championship. Like you said, Jake, that is certainly something we're gonna have to keep eyes on, and we'll of course find out where things kind of shake up with that, right? Because we still have time. We don't know what's going to happen this week on Dynamite as well as Collision, and we still have a week, I believe, left until 1 week left for Double or Nothing. This week and then the next will be Double or Nothing. So, who knows, right? We could see maybe where the story is looking to pivot depending on how the promos go. Moving on, though, unless there's anything else y'all wanted to add. I don't know. Yeah. We'll just run through this real fast. FTR, I don't know if you guys caught, are full-on bad guys now because they joined up with Stokely Hathaway in the brightest orange jumpsuit imaginable.
Oh, yeah.
But it
like he
out.
broke out of prison, it looked.
Literally.
It's just so funny. What do you guys think of this pairing? Like, I don't hate it because it's weird and different. I don't hate it. Matt, you have thoughts?
I mean, it's just it's interesting. Like, so they don't need a man. They're not the type that needs a manager, because like, especially Dax is a pretty damn good talker.
Yeah.
Don't really need someone to speak for him. But that being said, if you really want to go full heel, get Stokely's great, and he's a heat magnet, and so why not? You know what I mean? Why not just full tilt that way? And I think that's so I'm here for it. I'm here to see how it goes. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Seems like their crosshairs are firmly set on the Paragon, which is the like rebranded Undisputed Kingdom, which I think is perfectly fine. By the way, came out with the Kill Switch Engage song on Collision.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. So that was a unexpected surprise. But we'll see how that kind of all plays out. Adam Cole seems to be involved in that as well. And not that one's like developing, but it's mostly just Stokely being there with FTR. It's a odd dynamic that I never thought we would ever see. Speaking of odd dynamics, MJF and the Hurt Syndicate continues to be a story that honestly has been pretty fun. He keeps trying to get in. He keeps trying to weasel his way in, Jake. And he this time around, he bought Bobby Lashley a car. And Bobby Lashley was like, yo, that's dope. Oh my God, this is so exciting. And then when MJF
on condition that he gave him a thumbs up.
Yeah, he gave him a thumbs up. But instead, Bobby Lashley stole the car. So it's
I mean, it was it was offered. I mean, I know it was conditional and the condition technically wasn't met, but like it's not like he mugged the man, took the keys and sped away. Like
this is true.
Just casually, it was an offer.
But also if Bobby Lashley wanted to mug MJF and steal the car, I think it wouldn't have been that difficult.
No, it's very possible. This has become one of my favorite things on week-to-week AEW programming.
Yeah,
quite frankly, yeah, because it is like, so undoubtedly in the end, whether he does join or he doesn't, probably will at some point. It's gonna all explode, right? It's gonna blow up at everybody's faces, or he's gonna try to use them. It's MJF, obviously, but like, there's also part of me who's almost just like, I'm just sitting back. It's very Attitude Era-y, and it's just fun. He's offering them girls, like again, as just bringing in hoes, like The Godfather in 1999. You know what I mean? And the thumbs up, thumbs out each week. Like, let me convince you more. Let me just give you more shit. You know, I'll give you a car, give you a watch.
Him getting so hyped when he gets a thumbs up from Shelton.
It just gives him, yeah.
And MJF is showing that he like. It's not crazy range, but like it's range because he's had arcs where he's like a super serious bad guy, ultimate heat magnet, and he's still a bad guy, but now it's more like I buy it that he genuinely wants to like be in their group. Like it's like come on, let me play. And it's that fun. It's a super fun dynamic.
Well, and there is a really interesting fun to watch thing about this though, was in the promo, I believe, with Hangman on Dynamite, I think. I don't know if it was on Dynamite or Collision, but because their interactions have been very interesting, right? And MJF is very clearly using Hurt Syndicate to get what he wants, right? While Hangman Adam Page, because remember, this is the reason why I love this storyline, and you're so correct on this, Matt. But I love it because of how it intersects with Hangman's storyline, because he told Hangman, I'm going to get the belt. I'm getting Triple B one way or another, and I'm not going to go through all this effort and work like you did to get it. I'm going to skip the line. And he views Hurt Syndicate, Jake, as his meal ticket to skipping the line. Now, would you like this? Would you like this to be a prediction or a spoiler? Would you like it to be a thing that actually happens? Because I find that aspect of it quite compelling.
Yeah, I definitely do. I think that I think it'd be fun to see MJF ultimately get in there and it be this tentative partnership, and that he just kind of goes along with it first. But then I almost see him being like, he's like that little dog in the Looney Tunes commercial or Looney Tunes cartoons where it's like he's like, yeah, come on, stick him out. But then his like big buddy is standing behind him, and he just runs around talking shit while this guy
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's what MJF is going to do, and it's going to be endlessly entertaining. But he's going to eventually start to feel like he's the one calling the shots, and that's where it's going to start being a problem for Hurt Syndicate, and that's when it'll really get interesting. So. But
okay,
I'm just interested in seeing what the hell he's going to do to actually convince Bobby to let him in.
Yeah. So I'm going to piggyback right off that, because I was just going to jump in with, let's make this our question. We're going to get into it early. Our question of the week for our viewers and listeners, etc. What is the gift that will finally convince Bobby Lashley for the thumbs up? Does he get him a house? Does he buy it? Is it a private jet? Is it a week in Spain? Is it,
is it all the creatine he could get?
Yeah.
Full on gym set.
What if it's property, but it's just the lot that had Swerve's burn house on it.
Yeah.
Like that's like
That would be
something like that.
amazing. That'd be. Speaking of, by the way, just a
I
quick
got it at a
aside.
police auction
Swerve Strickland has a new Tron like thing that's actually
with the house.
freaking
Yeah,
awesome.
it's
like
pretty badass.
everything burns around. It kind of reminds me of
Mhm.
how they did Seth Rollins' Tron and with the burn it down and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. Yeah, I don't know. What is the gift? That is the question of the week. Let us know in the comments. What is the gift that MJF gives to Bobby Lashley? We'll take the best answers, put it up, and who knows? Maybe he succeeds and gets Bobby Lashley's blessing on Wednesday. You'll just have to watch and find out. But it is quite compelling. This one's more of a personal one for me. Just want to mention Top Flight and Crew, which Crew is Leo Rush and Action Andretti, the new team that kind of spun out of Top Flight. This has been such a fun like little story to follow for Top Flight because like. If you had been watching AEW for a long time, like, you know, the Top Flight Boys have been there for so long and they've been like always a team that like, you know, sometimes they'll get wins, sometimes they'll lose. Like, you know, Dante Martin will have like a big match and, you know, like they're always up and down, but they're always entertaining, right? And what's been really fun is to see Action Andretti and Leo Rush because Leo Rush got into Top Flight. Then that's when they started wearing all the silly outfits and stuff like that. And then there was like a very clear separation between the two because they wanted to go in two different directions. And I like how the story is kind of built out, but it culminated in this really fun hardcore high flying match that was really wild, a super fun match to watch on Collision. Worth your time. Go check it out. I think you'd very much enjoy it. But I got to give these guys credit, you know, for the limited time that they've had on TV each and every week. They've always made good with that time. And narratively, they've always added on to the story that they're telling of the separation of Top Flight. Yeah, we'll see just where it pans out. But I really think that Crew's like making a good run for bad guy tag team champions. Just the problem is Hurt Syndicate are the tag champs. So it's like that is a little bit of an issue when the Hurt Syndicate is just so damn legitimate. But we'll see what happens. And then finally, because this was just awesome, Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland had their freaking Predator moment or whatever, where they like clamped hands and did the thing. It was awesome. They're teaming up to take on the Elite, and this week on Dynamite, it's an all-star 8-man tag match with Kenny Omega. I don't think Swerve is in it, but it's Speedball Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, and I think Mark Briscoe.
Dude, Speedball was in not last week, but the week before, the week leading up to WrestleMania. He was in a tag match.
Yeah.
I forget who he tagged with, but it was also against
Kevin
Ricochet. And was it with Kevin Knight?
Yeah, he's been teaming with Kevin Knight often. Yeah.
That match was a banger. It was a really, really good match.
Yeah, they had one with the Bucks.
You should 100% check it out. That's it. The Bucks. That's who it was with.
Yeah. It was incredible.
That match was so
I've been
good.
following because I follow Speedball on Blue Sky, and he's been posting like the vlogs of him and Kevin Knight. So like I like this. I like where this is going, and they're both so good. Like honestly, just oh man, they're both so freaking talented. So
it'll be Speedball, Kevin Knight, Kenny, and Mark Briscoe.
Yeah.
Versus all three members of the Elite and Ricochet.
And I'm expecting, you know, Swerve's not involved, obviously. I'm expecting Swerve to show up because it's buck hunting season, as he said before. So what's up? But
hold up. We got to address this. This is the smooth elephant in the room this week, especially around AEW television. I don't like it. I got heat. We got heat.
Oh, we got heat.
And GB, you should have heat here too, because the bald slander going around the AEW universe is ridiculous.
You know, it's too much.
Ricochet has tried to stab people and like has belittled people and everything. Of all the things he's done, especially in this new arc, the thing we're all leaping onto him for is being bald, having a smooth, beautiful head.
Exactly.
What is wrong with you people?
It's terrible. And look, I get it. Mike Bailey, you know, you have a luscious head of hair. You don't have shoes.
Great head of hair.
I understand. Kevin Knight, you know, them locks, they look gorgeous. I understand. I get it. Bless you. I'm happy for you. But look, at the end of the day, are you coming out here talking all this crap about bald? We have feelings too. You know,
There's
we're
nothing
people.
wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
We
It's a
didn't
choice
choose.
for many people.
We
They
didn't
do it
choose.
I do it by choice.
We didn't
I mean,
choose to
trust
be
me.
follically challenged. Okay?
True.
You're right,
Anyway,
Matt.
sorry. I
No,
had
you're
to
right.
let it out.
You're right. You're so right. It's just
It's
I'm
wild.
glad I'm glad that I feel seen and heard.
Of course you're seen. You got to shine off your goddamn noggin.
God
there,
damn
buddy.
it, Jake! Stop
Wow.
with the slander. Every time. Every damn
I'll tell you
time.
this: 100 bald
Like a-
men
like
could
a beacon.
absolutely destroy a gorilla. I'll just put that.
What the
100 men with hair. 100 men with hair. They're getting grabbed by their follicles and being thrown around. Bald men, nope, we're smooth. You can't hold on to us.
That's it. They can't grab it.
Same.
They don't got hair. You know what I mean? Bianca Belair, you know how she wins these matches? Shave her head. They're just going after
no
her.
kidding.
They're going after her braid every time. Shave it. Shave your head. Go bald. No questions asked. They'll never be able to touch you. Ever. She'll be untouchable. Just smooth. Just no hair anywhere. Just freaking go in there, worm your way out of any hold or something like that, because you're basically what's his name from Street Fighter? The guy who oiled him up, who oils himself up to like fight. I don't know if you've seen him. There's a character.
No.
Yeah.
That's
There's
great though.
there's a character in Street Fighter who like his whole thing is that Hakan. He oils himself up and then he'll do a move. And as he oils himself up, he gets like more powers or whatever. It's just the most insane thing.
Smart strategy.
In the end, oil yourself up. Our GOAT, the man, the myth, the legend, Samoa Joe is back in the title picture after making Jon Moxley tap out to win the trios titles. Jon Moxley came out and issued a challenge and said, you know what, Samoa Joe, I'm going to put you to rest. And Joe's like, brother, I'd like to see you try. And they're going to fight tonight and Beach Break. And one thing is for certain, the match is going to bang. And that is it's Samoa Joe and Jon Moxley. It's going to be a crazy match. But the question really is, how the hell does Jon Moxley worm his way out of this one? Which obviously is just the trait of Jon Moxley. Or could Samoa Joe win the belt? Ooh.
No.
Ooh.
No, he won't.
No.
And that's what sucks.
But the real question to me is, why is this not Double or Nothing?
There has to be a
Right.
reason.
Because we're very close to Double or Nothing, right?
That was my thought. Well, I think Double or
just-
Nothing's main events are. I think the main event for Double or Nothing will be, if Hangman
The
wins,
Owen-
will be
the Owen.
Hangman versus Osprey, which is a main event match. So,
Of course.
but you know, I don't disagree with that. That being said, sit with me for a minute here, friends.
No.
Sit with me with some fantasy booking, okay, brother? Because hear me out. The ops have been like the ops kind of just came in and have just destroyed the Death Riders. Now, granted, it would be cool to see Samoa Joe get the championship again, only because of this MJF Hangman thing. And I keep going back to, it would be kind of wild if MJF managed to, we have a lot of time before All In. It would be kind of crazy if MJF wormed his way, got the world title, and now it's MJF Hangman fighting each other at All In for the belt. Like, you can get there in a world, and that could be compelling, but also that would require kind of just cutting the Death Riders off here, which would people be mad about that? I don't think so.
Well, no.
So I don't know. I don't know. I granted, like, I'm also not opposed to the idea of Hangman being the one to like end it all. But I just think this idea of MJF saying like, I'm going to get it no matter what. And I'm not going to go through all this work to get it. That to me felt like the story, but I don't know if I'm going crazy or not.
I don't know. You might
It
be
makes
going
sense
crazy.
though. It makes sense though, right?
I like I think that is an intriguing timeline. Because I
Because
mean,
Joe can drop the belt again, like, you know.
sure,
really-
the going logic would have you have whoever's winning the Owen will dethrone Mox at the big show. That's where we've been going. That's common wrestling logic. Common or the most common denominator story would
Yeah.
be have some white knight win the Owen and then dethrone the
Which works.
slog of which works. It does
works.
work. But See, because my only reticence to yours, where MJF swivels into it, is that I feel like you could probably get to that post a Hangman win at All In.
Mhm.
Like MJF crashes the party, and because that's a good message. The good guy wins. Adam Page, in his redemption arc of sorts, wins. That's good. We like that. But then MJF is right there to spoil it and be
Yeah,
like,
which also is fine as well. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, but I don't see it switching twice. I just
Yeah.
for some reason I don't see it going to Joe to MJF within 2 months between now and All In.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd say I could see maybe a shock win either like here or somewhere else along the way. So the main event of All In is a little different, but I don't know that I see 2.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Jake, you feel the same?
But
I concur. I concur,
Concur.
Doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be a wild ride. I wouldn't be opposed to it because it's something AEW hadn't done like this. They like to kind of stick with champs for a little while. Like even when Joe won the belt, they stuck with him for a little bit until, it got to Swerve. So unless Joe's like going away for like a movie or to film something, which is always a possibility. There's also the Hook of it all that kind of comes into play too, because Hook was injured and had a concussion, I believe, or something like that, like in real life. But it could come back, and then here comes Powerhouse Hobbs, and he kind of swoops in with the ops. So who knows? They have a lot of routes.
I'm still convinced too that I don't think the world title yet for Hangman. I think he need his again this redemption arc of sorts, this weird tweener turn he's on, which I really really like. I feel like that has to be not culminated maybe, but like justified, solidified. But I think he's gonna team up with Swerve ultimately. I think that is gonna be the ultimate like he is a baby face, and like they've put their crap behind them, and he is forgiven each other or whatever, or at least for the moment. And like there's been a turn in because they've always been on opposite sides of the fence. That's been a huge thing for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So for them to be on the same side of the fence, and whether it's the elite at All In or whatever, the Young Bucks, I mean, maybe it's Swerve, Kenny, and Hangman versus the whole elite at All In.
Yeah, that's a
Potentially,
possibility
something
too.
like that. Just give us a bunkhouse brawl of some type in Texas. And I think that completes his journey. And then I think maybe then you could put him to the world
So
title.
then you
Although
don't
I still
think
like,
you don't think you think Osprey wins?
yeah, potentially. I think the cleanest telling of the tale is Osprey winning against the big bad Death Riders, and then Hangman joining up with Swerve,
Yeah.
putting their crap behind and defeating like the Elite or Bucks or whoever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm still there's still like 30-40% of me that does like your idea of the original Hangman being the one.
But you know
So
what?
I'm in either way.
Guys, I think we're in a position where AEW's actually got some heat. It's not heat. It's got some bangers. It's got some fire on lit under it, because I'm interested. Because here's the other thing, and this kind of takes us to our second topic here, which really just is about AEW overall. But one of the things I wanted to kind of hone in on here, we hadn't really talked about him, is Kyle Fletcher. Because the thing is, Kyle Fletcher can very well win tonight. Like, I like the idea of Hangman facing Osprey at Double or Nothing. I think that would be really cool. Two faces trying to win, trying to be the one to be the number one contender. But it just feels like they have so much behind Kyle Fletcher that if he wins and we go back to Osprey, Kyle Fletcher, and then they fight again, I'm also not opposed to that. But is there a world, is that compelling as well for you guys? Or is that like been there, done that?
I don't think that Kyle Fletcher winning is a bad thing at all. I mean, I think AEW likes to reward, their homegrown talents, so to speak. And I think that would be a huge boost to to Kyle. I'm always in the camp of the more people that you push, the better. I mean, because I do like crowded title pictures, but like also you just get them involved with some other wrestlers that you may not really see them involved with much. And honestly, I mean, you've seen how it is. They'll do 6-man, 8-man tags, both here and in WWE, where they put some new person in because it's like, okay, let's see how the crowd reacts to them. And I mean, Kyle's been putting on bangers, and he's coming along as a character. I can't believe I'm saying this, but him being added to the Don Callis family may be the best thing to ever happen to him, which is wild to say because Don Callis is
Don Callis.
He's Don Callis.
He's Don Callis, man.
He's Don Callis.
No, he's got a track record. He
is the thin, greasy film on top of the public swimming pool that is AEW. But it's been great for Kyle Fletcher. I don't think that would be necessarily a bad thing at all to see him win. But I don't think it's happening. I just don't, because he's got to go through. It would already be a huge push if he did beat both Hangman and then Ospreay.
Yeah, that part I don't see happening. I definitely do not see him beating Ospreay. I think if it's Kyle Ospreay in the final, then
but it makes sense. We've had that baked in. We just had this incredible
Kyle got the win in the cage match.
And so
is there a world?
No, he didn't.
Oh, actually, sorry. Will won the cage match. Sorry.
Will won the cage match.
Yeah. But
we had some edibles at that, so it's okay.
There's a world. I agree. I don't think it's going to happen. I think just your cleanest story to tell is whoever wins, again, is the one to dethrone Mox.
Has to be.
Again, given the time we have between now and then and All In, shit can happen. And AEW does like to occasionally pull some triggers on TV on big moments. So it could be an interesting story. Kyle Fletcher runs the gauntlet, beats Hangman. Controversy, of course. He's a heel. There's the Don Callis family. Beats Will Ospreay in the final. Controversy, Don Callis family.
Mm-hmm.
But check. That's a check on the resume. I have won. Now, in the commencing 2 months, if you ramp up some intensity, you could have Will Ospreay beat Jon Moxley on a huge TV. We build up. The Death Riders are back in full force. No, the Friends of Power at AEW. I don't know.
The Ops and everyone
Hangman,
else comes
Swerve,
out.
the Ops.
I think the Ops will be involved for sure.
Yeah, some huge dynamite. We'll call it Summertime Smashtacular Exploding.
That's a great name.
And then
Playoff Palooza. Come on.
It's not hard to beat. But yeah, so you have something and even if it was surprisingly close to All In, 3 weeks away or something like that, and boom, this huge thing. Yes, Will Ospreay did it. The guy waiting in the motherfucking wings, it's the guy who just beat you.
Yeah.
That's an interesting story. Is all right, you're going to All In now. The guy literally beat you one-on-one in the tournament.
Yeah.
And now you got to defend your title against him in 3 weeks' time. Or the guy who, again, in addition to all their personal history.
Yeah.
So there is a world, but that being said, I still don't think.
But this is why it's good to bring him. Yeah. This is why it's good to bring him up into this story anyway, because it does tangle the web a little bit more. It gives you a lot more routes, a lot more options for things that you could do. And this is when it really gets fun, when it's not just, this linear single storyline, but rather, with all these branches and side stories coming in that are affecting the major picture, AEW's really they're really picking it up as far as the storytelling goes, because
I agree.
I'm definitely finding myself more intrigued and interested and invested in some of these stories and wrestlers than I have been in a very long time, with my primary one being Hangman. I am very I'm very intrigued by his storyline. yeah, they've just done a great job of building up these rivalries between people so that it makes these stories mean more and give you more options to do things. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think AEW is really coming around on their storytelling in general, but on their long-term storytelling too.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, like, it's no surprise, like, anyone who watches, like, hey, man, I used to work with AEW, and I like AEW. I've always enjoyed their style of wrestling and how they present it, while still enjoying everything else because there's so many good things. Go for it.
But to be fair, I think AEW, because I've been critical of AEW. I've been critical of WWE as well, I think.
Yeah, of
but
course.
like I've been critical of AEW largely because we are a narrative-based show.
Mm-hmm.
And AEW has for quite a while wanted to position itself as another option, as being the opposite side of the coin to WWE, which means they need to focus on the wrestling.
Yeah.
So give people to the, but now that we're starting to see a marriage of the two, now you're cooking with gas. Like,
You could say you're all in
Ooh.
on AEW storytelling.
I don't like you.
No, you know what though? You're incredibly right. AEW's been kicking. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I think that the best thing that happened to them was the ending Rampage. Allowed them to really focus on things. They're not bringing all of the titles on TV the way that they used to before. They're being smart about it. Like, the only Ring of Honor belt that really gets play on TV is the Ring of Honor Championship, and it's been mostly on Collision. So I think that has also been just very well thought out. Like, they clearly are like sectioning things off appropriately. But I think there's also stands to the point that you were saying, Jake, about, yes, AEW is a company that does focus on the wrestling, and it shows, right? You very rarely do you go into an AEW pay-per-view, for example, and be like, oh, those matches were bad. Like, I can never see a world where AEW will ever do what WWE did with John Cena at WrestleMania. Like, that's just not their thing. They'll go for a full match. You know what I mean? Like, everything, that all the bells and whistles, because that's what AEW does. Not to say that what WWE did was bad. I like it. It's just you gotta have different flavors. Different flavors is good. It's good. Options are always good. But in AEW's case in particular, what has been really fun has been the realignment. How they've been leaning on their lore a lot more lately, like the backstories, the things that they've built up, and really, it all starts. And it ends with Hangman and Swerve. Those two guys, like, I think, defined what storytelling can be in AEW, and then now everyone else is like following that model, so to speak. And it feels like a very cohesive product as a result of that. It's exciting, and I'm pumped for them. I'm pumped for them. But in any case, so there you have it. Not much else really to talk about this week. There's just it's just been good. We have Double or Nothing that's going to be coming up next week. I'm excited. I'm really pumped to see what happens on Dynamite tonight, especially with the first ever encounter now of Okada and Omega with both of their belts in the ring. Like, this is all they're going to fight. They're going to cross paths. But I do expect Okada to call Kenny Omega a bitch. I think that's going to happen.
I think
that's one that we can.
I don't know if that's on any of the sites to
bet on.
If that's any of the
play some money.
I don't know if that's a
odds.
prop bet or not.
Yeah,
to bet Okada call somebody.
We should do that. We should do plot bets. We should make like a website.
I kind of like that. That's pretty cool.
They're just like, what would the story be here? Actually, maybe we should find someone to make it. In any case, so there you have it, folks. Let us know what you think. What's been going on with AEW? Do you share the same perspective that we have, or are we just like speaking to the void and we're trolling? Let us know. We'd like to hear from you, and also make sure you join us on our Discord to talk about all this stuff, especially when the pay-per-views come up, weekly TV, all that good stuff. There's some folks there that love yapping about some pro wrestling, as well as other things as well, video games, meat sports or shoot sports. We still have to rename it, but yeah. So that, of course, takes us to the end of the show and our rebooked 24/7 champion of the week, where we, of course, share something in the world of professional wrestling. That's our favorite thing.
Or not.
Or not, person, place, or thing. You know, it is what it is. Anyone want to go first? Anyone feeling frosty?
I'm trying to decide between two.
Ooh, between two. I have one, and Jake, I know you have one as well that you wanna do. So we'll save that one. Let me see if I can find mine here, because there have been some fun things. And I usually like to save it in this. Oh yeah, this actually is the thing. Hopefully I can mute it so I don't get a copyright strike. But have you guys heard of Macho Dog? Because it's been my favorite. I don't know if I can like get the audio, but it's like this little dog.
Because it's mind-boggling to you.
Can't hear it now.
You can't hear it? Oh man.
But it's just with Macho Man,
And it's
like
just-
promos behind it and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta send it to me, because I'm very
It's just a
intrigued. by it.
dog.
Fantastic.
It's just a
Yeah.
dog that basically they take Macho Man promos and then they just like cut it with the dog having like crazy eyes and wild looks and stuff. It's so
Right.
great. Find Macho Dog on TikTok or on IG. Fantastic. Matt, are you ready for yours?
Yeah, I'll keep mine simple, and you will hear us talk a little bit more about it on our TNA episode. Leon mother frickin' Slater is my champ of the week. That kid
He's
is out of his
amazing, man.
mind.
Yeah.
Did his Swanton 450 off of the top of the Ultimate X Trust to the floor.
Yeah. Literally to the floor.
Yeah.
It was
But
incredible to
look
watch
at that.
live.
Look at that four. Like it's.
I mean,
a lot
that's
of the time
crazy.
when guys do that, they kind of like when you see them jump off ladders and stuff. You can see they kind of like half-ass it a little bit because they're like,
No,
I don't want
no.
the
Leon
ladder
Slater.
to fall.
my man
he
got
just-
air.
Committed, did his full like send out Swanton 450. Caution to the kid's absolutely incredible.
Just take care of
So,
yourself, Leon. I want to watch you
Yeah.
wrestle for 20, 30 years. So
Yeah, no
all I
kidding.
ask for is if you're going to
Yeah.
do stuff like
I
that,
feel like-
just be a little bit more.
I feel like even Jeff Hardy was in the back, like, ooh, I don't know about that one, brother.
that
That was
that was a rough and tumble one there. I
Yeah.
know that there has been some interesting discourse on the internet about this situation. Obviously, we don't
that there
focus
has, yeah.
on those things. But I will say, in the end, all that matters is that Leon Slater is safe, and that's it. And we're glad, okay? Because my future X Division champion needs to get his damn crown away from Moose. But we'll talk about that on our Thursday show, on our TNA show. So make sure you subscribe to Rebooked on YouTube, because it'll only come out on YouTube, and we'll see you there. So Jake, I know you have yours ready to go, right?
Yeah, I do. So mine is also from Rebellion this weekend. If you thought that Leon Slater had a big spot on the show and took a big crash off of the post, my 24/7 champion did the exact same thing. And my 24/7 champion is our own Matt Rehwoldt, who here happened to see a longtime friend, was very excited, jumps the barrier and ran into the front two row.
Did you take this?
This is from two fans who happened to be filming as it happened. We were standing next to them, and we were like, "You have got to send us that footage."
You monster.
And we,
And we looked at each other
It's
and
actually-
said, that's our Rebooked 24/7 champion this week.
and that is from Josh and Jaden. Josh and Jaden are our 24/7
That's right,
champions
yeah.
of the week.
I like
Josh and Jaden.
Josh and
Here's
Jaden,
to you.
you are our champions. Congratulations. Congratulations. Matt?
You've made an enemy.
Oh man.
To be fair, there were massive Aiden English fans, and they loved your work. They were like waiting.
yeah.
for
They
you.
were.
Yeah, they
They
were.
were. They're not anymore. I don't allow them to be.
Oh,
No,
man.
you forbid it. It's
I
forbidden.
forbid their fandom.
Dude, the vibes at TNA Rebellion were amazing. And I do got to say, if you happen to, have an opportunity to go to TNA show in your hometown that comes by there, like, do it. Ticket prices are great. It's always a good time. Like, the venue prices were good. Even it was a little bit more expensive, but like, it's a venue, so it wasn't. I was just at WrestleMania, okay, and I saw what the darkness looked like. I saw what greedy capitalism truly looks like. So I felt more than fine giving TNA my ducats because it was a good time. So yeah, man. Overall, good stuff here. But Matt, we love you, buddy.
Listen, when it happened, GB immediately turned around to me, and we knew what each other was thinking.
It was our Marshall and Lily moment.
We both at the same time go 24/7 champion.
24/7 champion. And we knew it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us here today. We thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you watch tomorrow for our TNA episode. It's going to be coming out here. Same time it'll usually drop from our YouTube video. So make sure you're paying attention to that. It'll pop up in your sub boxes. Then on Friday, you'll have our WWE episode. We'll catch you up on all the latest that's been going on in the world of WWE. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Peace.